Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the rigging for this. Um, and what I want to do is first off, we got to get some bones going in here. So let's go and get this going here. So I just went and hit the two panels, and let's flip this to the right view. I'm just looking at my hinges. Oh, damn it! This one here and this one here. Okay, great. I just want to be on the side when I do this. And actually, when I do this, I might also put on this thing here. There's a little button. This is shading. This is X-ray joints. It turns that on. This little button right there. Okay. And I'm going to go and get my joint tool. So I'm going to flip over into rigging, skeleton, joint tool. And I'm not doing anything fancy in here. I'm going to just go ahead and leave the default settings. I might even just put on 4, even though I'm X-raying joints. I'm going to hit X, and I'm going to put the first one in here, and I can't see it. Let's put the second one in there. And they're little tiny joints. I'm going to go to display, animation, joint size, make them bigger. Okay, good. We can see them now. And I can keep going. I'm going to hit X. And I'm just getting in the ballpark. They're not exact. I'm going to have to fix that afterwards. Okay. But they are going up straight. The other thing I could do is I could hold down Shift, and Shift goes straight up, and I can kind of get in the ballpark, but it's still not going to be perfect. I'll put one there, and I'll put one there. Okay. And I'm going to hit Enter. Okay, so I got my joints, and maybe I will line them all up. And so when I'm lining them up, this one here is on the grid. I'm happy and I know it. This one here, not quite right on the vertices. So if I hold down V, that's triggering the snap to vertex. There. And let's go and take this one and hold down V. There. And hold down V. And by the way, what I'm doing is I'm middle clicking as I'm doing this. I'm going in here, selecting the joint, holding down V, and you can either grab this thing right here. You can see this axis is active with the yellow handle. When I hold down V, if I middle click, I just kind of move it there and it locks and snaps. Okay, just in case I'm not explaining all the things I'm doing. Okay, and let's take this and V. There. Just have to move the cursor close to the center vertex, which is this line right here. Even though this one looks like it's almost there, it's not. Okay, great. And these ones don't matter because they're just kind of sitting out there in the middle of nowhere. Okay, so I've got all those selected and done. You might notice my grid here. I happen to keep my grid very large. I model very, very large. And if I go here to display, grid, I might even look at my options. And what have I done? I've done this. What if I hit apply and close? Actually, I've modeled super large. Uh-oh. Well, we'll just see what happens. I should be okay. The next thing I want to do, so I got those joints in place, is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to get the joint tool again. And this thing here is going to, let's say, that claw will pivot out from someplace like this, and I'll go to here, and I'll hit Enter. Okay. And now, what I want to do is I want to distribute this around here 8 times like I did before with the other one. Let's just go and tap this so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Maybe this one here, I'll go to the top view so you can see it. And to kind of pivot around this place here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this joint and I'm going to go Edit, Group. And so I've got a group, and here I'll also keep this open as I'm doing this so you can see this. It's just added an extra transform node to my joint. And now, when I go in and I make a duplicate and I hold down J, and by the way, remember that when you're looking at my hypergraph, I have display, shape, hidden, and underworld nodes on. Okay? So just in case yours doesn't look the same as mine right away, and then I do the shifty, 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 shifty. There, and I got them all really, really fast. Got all my groups duplicated, and then I can take these groups. I can select the joints here and leave the groups unselected. And I do believe I went in and I did this thing where it's this joint right here. I'll select that one, and I'll go in Edit, Parent. Hotkey is P. And then I can just take these groups and delete them. All they did, those groups, were just to assist me and give me a nice pivot point where I can rotate from. Okay, and here you can't see it here, shading X-ray joints there, so you can see my joints as well on this one. So I've got all my skeletal joints together. Let's just go back here to the front view, or actually the right view. And maybe one other thing I might want to do is this base joint here. Let's call this one root. And I might do an underscore JNT. I just put the little JNT in there just to identify the joint. And then I've got all these other freaking joints here, and it's like, well, how do I go about naming all these things? I select them all. Up here, there's a little menu, a hidden menu for renaming. And I might call this, instead of joint, let's call it arm. When I go and I do that, I'll get arm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great. Okay, and then I've got these claw joints, and I'm just going to take all these. Actually, just hold on a second. This arm joint 10. I'm just going to also put this as end. Okay, that's my end joint. And then I'm going to grab these ones. And remember, those are going to be those base joints there, not the tips. And I can go in and call those, say, claw. And then I get claw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I might take these ones. And those are the little tiny joints at the end. And those are really claw underscore end joints. Okay, I put the word end on it so that I know I'm not going to bind those ones. Okay, they're at the end of the chain. They're kind of there for more of a visual thing than anything else. But that's something we can explain later. Okay, let's see. So we got all the joints in place. And next thing that might be important. Actually, let's open that hypergraph again. If I grab all the joints, except for that parent joint here of the claw joints, I'm going to leave that one out of this mix. Actually, no, I don't. I want to, for this trick here, I'm going to make sure I do that. Something I need to do is if I just give it a slight rotation, right in here you can see I've rotated it 0.198 degrees. If I go into skeleton, there's a thing here called set preferred angle. And that becomes important for my IK handle, which I'm going to put in a moment. What do we got? 746. Okay, great. And I'm just going to zero that out again so it's straight up and down. And I'm going to do some quick binding. So the binding, and let's go down here. If I select this piece of geometry and that root joint right there, I'm going to go to skin, bind skin, and I'm going to make sure, here let's go edit reset settings, so we'll have the default settings. And instead of joint hierarchy, I'm going to put that on to selected joints. Okay, and I'll hit apply. And I'll do this joint and that one, apply. I can even just hit G instead of this, but I'm just going to do this really quick. Oh, you bastard, what was I thinking? This joint, this one, apply. This one, apply. And I'm clicking on the geometry and I'm holding down shift and dragging over that bone so I can select it. That's the way I select things. Grab that one first, because if you drag over, it's going to select the bone. You have to select the mesh afterwards. Okay, great. This one, there, boop. And then we get up to this area. This can be a little bit confusing. This one, apply. This one, apply. So you can do this however you want. I'm trying to do this mass production, but it's just a little bit tedious. I've got that stinking rotate tool on. So sometimes my pivot point feels a bit funny. And is this one bound? I think that one might be bound already. Yeah, it's bound. Okay, great. So that's done. All my binding is done. And if I grab these joints, this one, I'm holding down shift, this one, and I missed, damn it, this one. Now when I rotate it, yay! Just gonna undo that. Okay, great. So I've got everything bound. And what have I done? I'm at 10 minutes. Okay. So, and also too, I should just check these joints and make sure everything's bound. Yay! Bound. Then I want some controllers. And for the controllers, if I go in here and I create NURBS circle, and let's just make that bigger. Boop. Okay, got one NURBS circle. And I'm just going to kill the history, freeze the transformations, and let's call this base underscore control. Okay, I'm going to make a duplicate, and the freaking phone's on. Okay, just hold on a second. I got to pause it. Okay, now I'm back. So what I want to do is we got this other one here, and I'm just going to, I made a duplicate, and I'm going to hold down V, and I'll snap that one right to that joint right there. Okay, that's the last one of these ones that has like a little hinge kind of thing on it. And this one isn't going to be base control. This one is going to be clock control. And I'm just going to freeze that puppy out. Kill the history. There is no history on it. Okay, I don't got to worry about it. Actually, I might just scale it down a little bit too. And freeze it. Okay. So let's also what else? What other things do we need? We've got the base control. We got the claw control. Those are the only controls we really need. Take this and I'm gonna parent it in. I selected this. Held down Shift, selected that, and I hit P on my keyboard. Then I'm gonna need two more elements for this skeleton. I'm going to create an IK handle. And the IK handle, if you reset it, I usually put on sticky, and I have it on the rotate plane solver. Okay, and if I go in here, I want to click this joint here, not the base joint, I want that joint. And I'm going to go run, 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 run. And up to this one, I want that joint right there before you actually get to this head thing. Okay, and that's going to be my arm IK. Okay. And I've actually modeled this huge. This is huge. Okay, so I've got that. So I got an IK handle. And the other thing I'm probably going to need, if I go in here and I create a locator, and I'll make my locator big. I scaled it up, and I'll move it over, and I suspect I'm going to be moving it this way. If I take my IK handle and I push it down like that, okay, I want that locator over here. So I just undid that. Take this, move it over here. Got these crazy scale values on it. If I go in and I freeze the transformations, the scale values make it scale down, so I'm going to whoop, 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 whoop. I'm just going in here, highlighting this and middle clicking side to side. Okay, great. Then we got this. Okay, so, and we'll call this elbow underscore control. Okay, and what I need to do is select this and hold down Shift, and I'm going to select the arm IK. And if I go to constrain, there's a thing called a pull vector constraint. The pull vector constraint makes it so whenever I move this, if I take this IK handle and I move it down like that, when I grab this and I go boop, 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 there. Okay. And so that's all good. That's done. Next thing is I'm going to, 13 minutes. Okay, if I grab this base control and I grab this joint, I'm going to give that a parent constraint. Okay. And I'm going to select the circle, and I'm going to select the IK handle. The IK handle is selected last. I'm going to give that a point constraint. Okay, and now whenever I move this, the IK handle should follow. I did something really quick there too. I just basically deselected both of them and then selected just the IK, or just the controller, leaving the IK handle alone. I might even take the IK handle at this point and hide it. I hit Control H so I don't accidentally select it again. Okay, and then if I select the controller and I select this joint right here on the hinge and I go here to constrain, I'm going to take this joint and I'm going to give it an orient constraint. I'm opening up the options though, and so that I can avoid showing you too much stuff, I'm just going to hit maintain offset and hit add. And now this thing, and again I just did a tricky thing, I just went and selected this by itself because otherwise you don't want the joint and the controller selected at the same time. Whoop, it controls it. If you select the joint and the controller at the same time, it's going to freak out. So just be aware that's going to happen. And I should also make sure I take this elbow control and parent it to this thing. And that was parent, not parent constraint. Okay, so now this is all selected. Okay, cool. And we've got just a couple more things to do. And then we're set. We've done the rigging in like a 20-minute stretch. If I go in, I'm going to grab all the joints here, the claw joints, the ones that rotate and control these pieces here. And if I go to edit, okay, I don't see anything there. I have to highlight, let's see, in this case here, it's going to be my rotate Z. So my rotate Z, if I highlight it, I can go here to edit and I can hit the set driven key, and that's going to open up the set driven key menu. And these are all going to be loaded as driven objects. If I take the controller here, that's going to be the driver. And, oh crap, I forgot to put a driver, or I forgot to put an attribute on it. If I go to modify, if I go to add attribute, I can go in here and call this class. And I'll give it a minimum of, say, -10, maximum of 10, default 0, and I'll hit OK. And we don't see it show up here. That's because I got to reload it, basically. Load the driver, boom, there's the clause. There's the custom control that I created over here. And then I can just, this is at the default setting of 0, so I'm going to hit key. Okay, and then I'm going to take this clause and I'm going to go to, say, let's go to -10 first, see what that looks like. When I take the clause and I rotate them out, whoop, something like that, then I can key it. Okay, and I take this and I change the clause. Now if I middle click there, now it's working from there to there. And I'm going to go all the way to 10, and I'll take all these joints here and I'll grab the rotate Z. Whoop, crap. Rotate Z, and let's go and just pinch it. Okay, good. Key it, and boom, we're done. Now this, okay, I did them all at once. I could do them one at a time. This is the fast way. So now, if I have this at 0, it set as default values. I might even just take this thing here, the elbow control, and I can go in and hide that. Just so I don't accidentally select it. Really what it does is it helps control this thing, so if I rotate it around, everything remains solid, so I can place this thing wherever I want to go. And that's it. I think I'm done. I should save this out. File. Save as, and I'll call this one rigged. Holy cow, I did these all really fast, and I didn't actually... I should have saved after I finished UVing, but whatever. If I go in here and I call this rigged, done. And, okay, and I should take some of these things and get the textures on in Mari for the next one. Anyway, I'll stop for now.